Hello and welcome. I hope that you are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency news on the front page of China's newspaper, Bitcoin, which is really interesting because it wasn't that long ago that the Chinese government was very negative about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin in particular and all cryptocurrencies in general. Now, it was about 4 weeks ago, give or take. Today is November 17th, 2019. It was sometime in October when the president of China came out and declared the virtues of blockchain. And this article talks about Bitcoin. And so maybe China is starting to warm up to cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin and other forms of cryptocurrency. I need you to know that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I am not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say. Do your own research. Now, Bitcoin's front page splash in China. So it's really interesting here, but today Bitcoin was featured prominently in one of China's major national newspapers, the state-owned Xinhua. I'm not sure that I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please let me know. What's interesting is just how measured the article is. The author titles it Bitcoin Blockchain Technology's First Successful Application. Now that may be important because it was blockchain that the president of China was advocating. He never mentioned Bitcoin specifically, but he was advocating how the Chinese people need to embrace blockchain technology and need to pursue it in their different business ventures. And so it was an incredibly bullish statement about blockchain in particular. But of course, that involves Bitcoin, as Bitcoin was blockchain's first successful application. Most of the article is fairly straightforward introduction to Bitcoin, explaining how it is digital currency, not fiat or metal backed, and the basics of how the blockchain works. The end of the article summarizes the key features of Bitcoin with some pros and cons. It talks about Bitcoin's limited supply, how Bitcoin has good anonymity, which enables easy money transfers but enables illegal use as well, high energy use, volatility due to free market, and no state-backed stabilization. Overall, it's remarkably balanced. It does not advise readers not to buy Bitcoin or condemn it as a tool for criminals and anti-state actors. It just lays out some facts, signaling that some caution might be necessary. China, what are you up to now? Because this article, a noticeable softening of anti-Bitcoin sentiment, signals a shift. I agree with what the author is saying here as far as the anti-Bitcoin sentiment that's pervaded China, but the anti-Bitcoin sentiment has always had me somewhat confused because they made Bitcoin in particular illegal to purchase, but they did not make it illegal to mine Bitcoin. In fact, some of the world's largest Bitcoin mining operations are in China. And so I always thought it was very, I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm trying to be diplomatic, but it just seemed odd that on one hand, Bitcoin mining is okay, which causes you to own Bitcoin, but purchasing Bitcoin was illegal. And so how do you reconcile all of these miners owning large amounts of Bitcoin because they're doing Bitcoin mining? I don't know. I have heard in some of the information I've read online, and because I don't live in China, I have no way of verifying this, but they talk about how, China, in order to run a business and succeed and be successful in China, you often have to pay off local officials. And where a lot of the larger Bitcoin mines are located isn't in the suburban areas where there's large infrastructures, but rather out in the rural areas where the electricity is cheaper because they've built great big power plants that have excess electricity that they're able to tap into at a lower cost. And that in some cases that those Bitcoin mines have become a huge part of the economic infrastructure of those local towns. And the local communities, including the government officials that are getting paid off by those Bitcoin mines, are in a position where they don't want to cut off those mines because it means cutting off a significant amount of their income. And so no matter what happens from a legal perspective, some of those mines will actually get protected by Bitcoin or by government officials, because the government officials will just turn a blind eye to the mining operation and say, oh no, we have no mining in our area, and similar things like that. And so it's very interesting how the Chinese government in the past has had a very anti-Bitcoin sentiment, but given the statements that came from the president and then some of the new news articles that have been coming out lately, it sounds like, especially when the Central Bank of China has announced that they are introducing their own cryptocurrency. So here's the Chinese government coming out with a cryptocurrency that's backed by the Central Bank of China, representing Chinese money on a stable coin. And so all of this is getting very interesting. I'm wondering, we know that China has wanted for years to be a world dominant player when it comes to finance and to currency, and by becoming one of the first governments to officially release their own cryptocurrency, it may give them a leg up on making their currency more of a global currency. But that, again, like I said at the beginning of this is my opinion. Only time will tell. It'll be interesting to see how all of this unfolds over time. In the meantime, how can I be of service to you? If you have any questions, if you're new to cryptocurrency, you're trying to figure out blockchain, whatever it is, please leave it in the comments below. I would be more than happy to help you out. If you disagree with anything that I may have said in this video, please include your polite disagreements below, because you know things that I don't know, and I know things that you don't know. We can learn from each other and grow smarter together. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and hodl, and I hope you have a fantastic day.